Right, thank you, Joseph. Our final speaker is Ian Taylor, who probably doesn't need much introduction, but let's do it anyway because Ian has been such a pioneer and an innovator and a long-term inspiration for many of us, so it's a real honour to have Ian. But you probably first saw Ian on screen when he was one of the hosts of Play School and also of Spot On, and I can remember that well. Ian, thank you very much for inspiring my afternoons in Upper Hutt, because you need it in Upper Hutt, I can tell you that. But now, thanks to his work with animation research, Dunedin has become one of the centres in the specialist field of computer graphics technology for sports coverage in many areas. And I think, Ian, I'll stop talking and just let you come up and share your latest thinking about animation research, and in particular yachting, I suspect.
Ko mohaka te awa, ko haururu te maunga, ko ngati pahauere te hapu, ko ngati kaunguni te iwi, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Which is just another way of saying, you know, I'm just a little Māori fella from the East Coast. My river is Mohaka. My mountain is Maunga. My iwi is Kahungunu. My hapu is Pahuera. And this is the house. I was brought up in the 1950s without electricity. Not only without so there I was, without electricity, no TV, no refrigerator, no telephone. So I figure that is probably, in the Māori worldview, it's our past that lies in front of us. So all of that are the footsteps that lie in front of me that brought me to the paving stones where I stand today, which makes it a really good place to start this. How innovation will shape the future of New Zealand and the way we tell our stories to the world. So I'm going to take a little change to the kind of thrust that we've had. Well, actually not really, because the stories from the Māori legends, it's just been wonderful seeing the Māori culture come through here. Because before we start telling our stories or our innovative stories to the world, I think there are a few innovative stories that we need to start telling here. Stories like this.
Centuries ago, our Māori ancestors explored this great planet in giant waka, often in crews of more than 100 men and women. They were astronomers who mapped the stars and ocean currents using sophisticated charts that they committed to memory for those long months in unexplored waters. From China to the Philippines, Indonesia to the Pacific Islands, after millennia of migration across a third of the planet, they eventually arrived in Aotearoa.
So here's the thing. You see, when I was growing up in the 1950s, going to school from that little house in Raupunga, no one ever taught me these stories. No one shared with me the stories of the ancestors who sailed across a third of the planet. To do that, they had to be designers, engineers, innovators, astrologers, astronomers. But no one told me that story, and still today, no one shares that. But our ancestors were among the great innovators of the world. Instead, I learnt about the Vikings. I learnt about King Edward. I learnt all of those stories. So I think it's time that we made a change. Because right here in Auckland, you have the largest gathering of Pacifica and Māori students in kids rangatahi in the world. The largest. And this stuff is in their DNA. It's just that for hundreds or for years, we have denied them these role models, and now it's time to change that. And it's really cool to see what you're doing with the Māori games and all of this and the coding and stuff, because this is something that Steve Jobs didn't know. Steve Jobs didn't know it at the time that when he built iPads and iPhones, he built them for Māori. Because you see, we don't write, we don't use pencil and paper, we tutu with our hands. And these screens that Steve Jobs made have opened this world to our rangatahi, and that's our future. Now, you probably see me standing here and going, God, if this is a little Māori guy from Hawke's Bay with you know, started a house with no computers, no electricity, how come he's standing up here today? Well, here's how I get to stand up here today. I surrounded myself with clever white people. Look at them. And gender, look, so we got it right there, clever white people. Now, here's something that, I guess, I was here last night. It was really interesting to hear this place called GridAKL. I mean, it's a wonderful facility. It's a tremendous place of gathering. But why GridAKL? Why not GridAKL? Why not? You see, I tell you what drives me really crazy, and it doesn't just happen here, it happens in every city where a mayor gets up on the stage to open something. All they talk about is their city. This country is hardly the size, I mean, it's the size of California. You know, our power is going to be pulling all of us working together across the place. So I think we should rename it as soon as possible, GridAKL. And we will reach out to people all over the country from here. And I look forward to coming and taking a space here for a month or so, and then going back to my home in Dunedin because, you know, just as a reminder, there are people all over the world all over the country, doing amazing stuff. So here's my little team in Dunedin. Here's what we do around the world. And this is about collaboration on a grid that's global. So to make these mountains for the Red Bull ski racing, we work with a company in Austria that has drones, that does photogrammetry, so we can build these models. We send people to there. So again, for Red Bull, we pull stuff down off the internet, build Tokyo, so that we can do this. All of this is happening from Dunedin with a total of 5 programmers. The Volvo Ocean Race, that's about to start next weekend. So we have a team in Alicante. We're tracking these using weather forecasts from England, from America, all over the world. That's the grid. It's a global grid. And starting next weekend, we'll be chasing these boats in real time all over the world from Dunedin. And that's not to say Dunedin's cool, it's just that it's at the bottom of the world, so it's a long way to send it. And then there's the Formula One. So in the Formula One, not only did we build every Formula One track in the world, because we built the simulator that 3 of the top F1 racing teams use to train their drivers to set up their cars for all of the tracks. And we've just sent them the latest 360 VR headset where they'll be measuring the impulses and stuff of the drivers while they're training on the simulator. What have we got next? Just to let you know, we like Auckland too. See, there you are. But yeah, I just didn't want you to feel out of it. So you're in the grid as well. You know, you're more than welcome to be in the grid. So here we go. And then, of course, we're one of 2 companies in the world that is allowed to do the DRS. And again, this stuff of thinking outside the square, we developed this stuff using jaffas thrown down on a wooden thing and tracked from cameras sitting on a rubbish tip. Comes out looking like that. I would show you that, but I have to fit this into a really tight time frame. Here's the golf, and again, collaboration. I actually said to my guys, I took up golf and said, get me to all the best golf tournaments in the world for free. I've been to every tournament, that's the Masters, we did this year. But again, collaborating with people in America, that's where all that data is coming from. We developed this radar thing with a company in Austria. In Switzerland. So radar, and we did that, us in Dunedin, them in Switzerland. We developed it. The first time we met was the day we turned up at the Masters, plugged their gear into our gear, and that's what happened. It then went on to be a finalist in the Emmy Awards. This one here, so a little company in Dunedin develops these trackers. The trackers are sitting on the back of those boats. See all that data? That is coming from those boats all over the world, down to Dunedin, into the software, and back out around the world. Finally, here we go. Again, just pulling stuff in. This is another thing we do for the Red Bull, these crazy bike races. So imagine what's really cool about GridAKL, or GridAKL, I'm going to call it from now on, is that, you know, we can join you here, you can join us out there, because this is the grid of the future, and it isn't a single building. And then, of course, there's the America's Cup. So the really cool thing about the America's Cup, if I sit here and look out there, as I do in the Māori worldview, you should try it. Keep your past always in front of you. Keep those footsteps always in front of you, because it makes finding the future a hell of a lot easier. So here's an example of those footsteps we took. So in 1992, that's what it looked like. And the computer that did that cost $500,000. It was the size of a fridge. And it stayed at $500,000 until 2003. It dropped from $500,000 to $15,000, and we could put it on a desktop. I'm going to jump right through now to, this is Bermuda. This is Bermuda this year. So $500,000 is now, and a white boat and a blue boat. This year, it's operating on a phone you carry in your pocket. That's the shift, that's the change, that's the innovation of the future. But the really cool thing here is also, look at that red button there. You click on the red button. It means you can go to here, listen to the audio on any of the boats. You can listen to the umpires, or you can listen to the commentary. The camera at the top, click on the camera. You can go to any camera on the boat. You can go to the live coverage. You can go to the helicopter. You are totally in control. First machine, $500,000. Now your iPhone doing that. But the really cool thing about this is the way this app, or the app before it actually, was made. When we decided that we needed to build a mobile app for the Americas.